Dance, right, folks. Really, really cool to spice up your day.
That's right.
Everyone can dance.
If
right
you notice not the how should I say, not to say fat lah, but kind of my size. Wow, the one in the middle, so cute.
Yeah, man. Now everyone can dance,
Exactly.
right? Don't let the Koreans tell you what a dancer should be the shape of like, right?
Exactly.
So don't let anyone dictate that.
Now,
let's talk about Personal Data Protection Act 2010, right? The act that came to save the day, right? So let's talk to the Commissioner of Personal Data Protection for Malaysia. This is Tuan Haji Abu Hassan Ismail. Welcome to the show. Very good afternoon to you.
Thank you.
Maybe you can give us a introduction to the Data Protection Act 2010.
What is personal data to begin with?
Thank you very much, Stephen and Zamel. First of all, let me take this opportunity to express my appreciation to RTM, particularly Hello On 2, for the opportunity given to the personal data protection to be here today and to share with all our viewers on the subject of concern to everyone, I guess.
Everyone.
Which is about personal data protection. So, for your kind information, to give you some background of it, let me give some update on the current development with regard to the implementation of the data protection in Malaysia. The Act was passed in Parliament sometime back in 2010.
Okay.
Right.
And in the same year has been given royal assent. And following the basis of this Act by the Parliament, several measures has been taken by the government to implement this Act, including the establishment of the Personal Data Department, Protection Department, So the department has been given responsibility to put the necessary measures, including establishment of the regulation, subsidiary legislation, putting the resources, capacity, enforcement capacity, and also conducting consultation with all the industry players on how they could comply with the Act. So following the successful implementation work has been done, the government had decided to announce the implementation of the Act on the 15th of February last year.
Yeah, and what is, coming back to my first question just now, what is actually personal data for the benefit of the viewers?
Personal data is information about individual.
Okay.
Either it is directly or indirectly related to individual, which means the information can identify individual. Example of this information including your name, address, telephone number, IC number, passport number, and so on. So
username, password, all that is also
everything
included, right?
which can identify individual is considered as personal data.
So like in the US, they have the social security number, right? So we have our IC number,
my card.
So this information can be objective and can also be subjective. Example of the subjective information is the opinion, employer opinion about the employee.
Right.
So this is also personal to individual. And opinion of doctor or the patient.
That one is
another
also
fantastic example.
data. I see.
So the information can come in many forms. It can be in the picture, it can be in the text, it can be in the form of images, still images or moving images like CCTV and all this. So it's the definition is quite, the scope is quite wide in nature.
I see. Now, before we heat things up in this segment about Data Protection Act 2010, we're going to be taking a short break.
Exactly. And we're going to go deeper into this. But before that, we actually have a special segment, I would say, right?
It's about Inside Japan. So let's think about that, and we'll be back with this interesting topic. Don't go anywhere. Back, we're still talking about Personal Data Protection Act 2010 together with our guest right here today. Once again, the Commissioner of Personal Data Protection Malaysia, Tuan Haji Abu Hassan Ismail. Now, to continue on with our discussion for today, maybe you can bring us back to the days before there was this Saving Act. And right now, after the arrival of Personal Data Protection Act 2010, how does it work to safeguard
how has it changed?
Malaysians?
Thank you, Stephen and Zaman. I think before the coming into force of this act, most of the industry players are observing some other laws. But those laws may be insufficient and not a privacy law as such, like Personal Data Protection Acts. So under this act, I think what we have here is that what underpins the act is that 7 principles which must be complied by the industry when they process personal data protection. Those principles are, one is consent principle, meaning to say that every industry player must obtain consent from the individual as the data owner before they process their information for purpose of any commercial transaction. Example, you are intend to borrow money from the bank. The bank must obtain your consent that your information will be processed. Yeah? So that is number 1. And also before obtain the consent, the data owner or data subject must also be informed about the purpose of the collection or processing of that data. So and also to which party that the information will be disclosed to. So all those must be comply with the by the data industry,
data
so
users.
before this, there was no consent.
No consent.
You just give
their
away
mercy
your.
lah.
Yeah, so you're at their mercy, right? What about the data that was collected before this act came into place?
All those data which are collected prior to the implementation of this act are still need to be obtain the consent. They must get some form of consent from the data owner or the individual customers. Example, if the bank card holder, they must inform all the card holders.
I see.
So this is a requirement of the act, failing which I think they will be
Deleted?
There will be violation of this rule. I think may be subject to liable of 300,000 fine.
If they cannot get the consent?
If not, if they cannot, if they don't follow the law, the principle.
So I see. Now the main thrust of the Act 709 is based on the 7 principles of data protection, right? Please explain to us the gist for this one, Personal Data Protection Act.
So some of these principles which I just mentioned to you, one is consent principle or general principle. Second is a security principle, which also must be complied. Meaning to say the industry, data user company must make sure that the necessary security measures are in place, including the use of firewall, software, and all this to protect the consumer data from being lost or unauthorized access and all this. And thirdly, they also must follow the retention principle. Meaning to say, if your agreement with your bank, for example, is 3 years, they cannot keep your data more than 3 years. They have to dispose it. Okay. And the other one is the integrity principle. Integrity means data must be correct all the time. So in this case, data user must make the effort to ensure that the data that they are keeping are correct. For example, your address, your IC number, your everything about you, about your identification must be correct all the time. And also the other thing that provided under the law is access to the data by the consumer or individual. The data user must also allow the consumer to gain access to the data that they are keeping. So this is very important to enable the individual as data subject to make correction if there is any information which are not correct. So lastly, the principle of disclosure, which I think very crucial, because data user must make known to the data subject to which party that the information will be disclosed to. So that much is about the principle. And the other thing which I want to add here is the right of the consumer or individual. Number one, the consumer has a right to withdraw the consent under the law. So, and secondly, his right to gain access to the data that kept by the data users organization. And lastly, they also has a right to make correction if there is any mistake in the data kept by the data user. So all those are the protection that are provided under the law.
So how is the registration of the data users actually going? How many companies are we talking about here who actually have registered thus far?
With the implementation of the Act on the 15th of November last year, I think all the data users which are come under the 11 sectors which we have classified under the minister order are required to register with us.
11 sectors.
11 sectors. Those sectors are telecommunication,
I see.
banking, insurance, hospitality, health, direct selling, hotel, and also real estate. Altogether is 11 sectors. So, based on our earlier estimate, there are currently about 25,000 data users. The company that processing data in Malaysia now we have in Malaysia. But those who are eligible for registration so far, based on our earlier estimate, is around 8,000. So far the registration are going on very well. The response are very good. After the announcement by the minister, I think our portal has received quite a high number of hits, about 1,000, 2,000 hits per day. So these are the inquiries that we receive from the data users organization like bank and all business entities in Malaysia.
Do you have a target date where you need to have all the data
The deadline
collected?
for them is on the 15th of February this year.
Oh, that's really close.
No Chinese New Year lah for some of them, I think.
Busy registering their data. Now, Tuan Haji, whenever for example, myself, right, when we go to shopping centres, Pavilion, we still get SMSs about offers and discounts in Pavilion. How did they know about that? I'm there. And when I'm going to the airport, they will send me internationally related deals and special offers. So is that something wrong there? Is there?
Well, there is a rule under the Act whereby you need to communicate any business information like advertisement, promotion of product and services. You have to obtain the consent of the owner first. So in this regard, if they don't follow this rule, I think the fine will be stiff, 300,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. What advice would you like to give before we conclude?
First of all, let me take this opportunity to advise all the viewers and audience today to be more careful when providing information to any parties whom you do not know, the identity of whom you do not know, and also including putting their name on the web-based forum. I think they have to be very, very careful about it. So that we can make sure that our data will be used in the manner that we wanted it.
I see.
All right, wonderful. And with that, we end our show for today. Thank you very much, Tuan Haji, for coming today. And of course, we are going to wind up for today, giving you more advice. Of course, the flood situation is worsening in the East Coast area.
That's right.
And also at the same time, tomorrow it's a holiday.
Exactly. Maulidur Rasul holiday. So maybe Zamil, for the benefit of other non-Muslims, maybe you can share with us what happens on Maulidur Rasul Day. Is that no open house
it's
kind
the
of thing,
birthday
right?
of the Prophet Muhammad. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you,
Don't
thank
go
you.
away, Tuan
Thank
Haji.
you.
Thank you. We need you to still be here with us.
Yeah.
Tuan Haji still be here. Still
Yeah.
Jangan
So-
pergi mana-mana.
Yeah.
Okay.
So share with us what happens.
Lari-lari pula Tuan Haji ni. Okay.
Open house ke apa usually?
That's right. Well, no, it's actually the birthday of our Prophet Muhammad. Right?
Okay.
And at the same time, we are also gearing in. It's actually quite a long weekend for this coming week. You know why? This Friday is actually Thaipusam too.
Yeah, so One Malaysia holidays. That's what we love best about this country.
That's right. Well, we hope you enjoyed watching the show today. Be sure to stay tuned, same time, same place tomorrow. Zamil and Stephen signing off for the day.
Yes. See you guys.